Hi lovelies, welcome back. This week I'm going to do something a little bit different. Usually I just show up in front of the camera with a kind of topic or idea that I want to talk about and just speak. But today, which will be yesterday by the time you watch this video on the day you're watching it, which is tomorrow, today is the release date of my third book, which is True Nature series Compassion. And I really just wanted to do something different today and read you a short excerpt from it. So sit back and enjoy. So many of us go to battle with our minds. We fight against the bad feelings and often try to think our way out of them. We might employ some active strategy, a tool, technique, affirmation, exercise, visualization, or more, in an attempt to eliminate those bad feelings and, we hope, prevent them from returning. Now, when our efforts fail, as they inevitably will because we cannot control our thoughts, we feel like even bigger failures. Because surely we're just not doing the right things. Surely if we were better at improving ourselves and thinking positively and fighting off negativity, we would feel good again. And so now we feel even worse. Not only did we feel awful to begin with, but everything we can think to do to try to make us feel better just isn't working. Hopelessness starts to creep in, and our discouragement hits an all-time high. But when you really understand where your awful feelings are coming from, it will make no sense to try to fight them off. If you see that your thoughts are simply energy passing through your system, it makes no sense to try to do battle with that energy. It's not as if you can just wrap your hands around it and wrestle it to the ground. As much as it may appear solid, in truth, there's nothing there to actually grab hold of. If you see that feelings are temporary sensations moving through you, it makes no sense to try to fight them off. They're already on their way out the door by the time you notice them. If you see that you've never been able to control everything you've thought, it makes no sense to try to control everything that has yet to come into your mind. You will never be able to control thought. You'll simply exhaust yourself in the process and get nowhere. If you see that no human being escapes moods, that we will all occasionally feel down and low, no matter what we do, what we say, or how our lives look, then it makes no sense to ascribe deep and personal meaning to those feelings. The point, my dears, is this. We always do what makes sense to us, given how we understand life. Always. Not just sometimes, always. Given how we make sense of reality, we act according to that sense. Given how we understand something, we act on our understanding of it. When I was first learning to drive standard, I was absolutely awful. But it wasn't my fault. I had no understanding of the interaction of the transmission and the engine, no sense of what gears were, what the clutch did, or how to read the tachometer. So of course, given that I had no understanding of how the system worked and what I was trying to have it do, it's really no surprise that I was failing epically. Nothing was smooth or successful, and I was relying on pure luck for the first hour or so. It wasn't a personal failing that I couldn't operate a system I didn't understand. It was simply the logical consequence of misunderstanding. But once my dear friend taught me how standard transmissions work, what I needed to pay attention to, what clues I'd be given as to how much strain the vehicle is operating under, what gears are, how the clutch works, and the other relevant bits of how it all relates to each other, driving was easy. Once I understood how standard transmissions worked, I didn't have to just cross my fingers and wish on my lucky stars that I would get through the intersection without stalling. I knew what stalling was, how it came about, and what I could do to avoid it. And that doesn't mean it was all perfect execution from there on in and I never stalled again. I definitely did. But I could clearly see where I was making the mistake and why the vehicle was responding accordingly. I understood it, and because I understood it, I was operating with it rather than against it. And so, obviously, the chapter continues. I'm not going to read you an entire chapter because that would take a while, but I just really wanted to share that because I think that that's a piece that we often miss in our lives of we get down on ourselves, why can't I do this better? Or why is something so difficult for me? Or why am I epically failing? Or why am I getting myself more stuck? And the answer simply comes down to if you have limited understanding, or even worse, a complete misunderstanding of how the system works, then the logical consequences, of course, you're going to be bad at it. Of course, you're going to be relying on superstition. Of course, you're going to have it be really unpredictable, kind of a hit or miss game that you're not really able to figure out. That's just what happens when you misunderstand something. But as always, understanding is key. Understanding is what allows us to get reoriented with how things work. And like I said, that allows us to operate with how a system works instead of against it. The minute I realize, oh, the clutch disengages the engine from the transmission. Oh, gears are related to the RPMs, and I'll hear the difference in when the engine's under strain and when to gear up and gear down. Like, the minute that I got how that worked, I wasn't just relying on luck. I was relying on, working with a logical system. And our minds work the same way. So I hope you enjoyed this short and sweet excerpt. I'll put the links below if you want to get the book. I loved writing it, and I truly think that compassion is something that is so undervalued in not only our relationships but our world. And so it was a no-brainer for me to write it, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I would love for you guys to check it out if you're so inclined. So thank you so much. I will be back with you next week. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and any questions or comments below. As always, I love to hear from you guys. So take care and be well. We'll speak soon.